Good morning, Ohio. It is James Lewis of This Dream House. With us today is Dr. Jeffery Patchen, President and CEO of the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. Thank you for joining us today.
Great to be with you.
So, where is the Children's Museum at?
The Children's Museum of Indianapolis is 30 blocks north of the center of downtown Indianapolis on, almost 10 acres of land, and 7.5 acres of that is our new Riley Children's Health Sports Legends experience.
That is awesome. I mean, it is just amazing how your organization still, despite being so huge already, has grown immensely of late.
Well, yes, we have, and we're thrilled to be able to share this with children and families from the entire Midwest region and the rest of the U.S. when they come to visit.
So, when is it open?
Well, the Children's Museum, as a museum, is open every day from 10 to 5. The sports experience, the outdoor portion, opens March 16th. The indoor portion is open year-round.
Excellent. I was going to say I want to tease one that I'm going to, of course, ask you about later. It's a shame I can't be there at midnight or something, but, I'm just teasing that I'll ask you about that in a little bit.
Well, the dinosaurs come alive. It's not a good time to be. The dinosaurs come alive at night, so...
Oh, that'd make it fun. Them and Teddy Roosevelt and
there you go.
Those talking head things, whatever those are. Yeah,
right.
All kinds of fun stuff. So, what admission options do you all offer?
Well, of course, for those who live nearby, and for many in Ohio region, we have memberships that are really the best deal and allow unlimited visits throughout the year. Most memberships, most member families are visiting anywhere from 2 to 3 to 20 or more times a year. The closer, obviously, the more frequently people visit. For those who are not interested in a membership, they can buy general admission tickets, and you can buy them online ahead. And the more in advance you buy, the cheaper the tickets are.
Oh, wow. So if they're planning ahead of time, they can get a savings? That's great.
Absolutely. And there are, some days that are just $13 admission, and others, if you wait till the last minute, it jumps up as high as $36 for an adult. But it depends on the time of year and the day, and the more advanced that you go out and reserve your tickets, the better the price.
Exactly. Like you said, it's better to plan ahead. But then again, you have the nice option of truly planning ahead and getting that family membership. I mean, like you said, they're always changing. You're always adding things. You're always growing. So it seems like that would be the best way.
Absolutely. We have about 35,000 household families, and many of those, again, from the Cincinnati region, Columbus, Cleveland, even Chicago, Fort Wayne, Cincy, Louisville, St. Louis.
Oh, nice. So from all over. So what is the mission of the Indianapolis Children's Museum?
The mission is to create these extraordinary family learning experiences across the arts, sciences, and humanities that have the power to transform the lives of children and families.
I know you have so many items there, but about how many exhibits do you have?
Oh my gosh, we've got 13 permanent exhibits. We've got 3 temporary temporary exhibit spaces, and we have 3 seasonal exhibits throughout the year. We've got a holiday experience around the Christmas time. We've got a spring experience around racing, and of course in October we have our incredible haunted house experience.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. So it sounds like there's a wide variety of things. It's not just the same old, same old. So with that membership, if you go, 4 times, 5 times in a year, the museum could be completely different as you go each time.
Absolutely. We say if you go more than 2 times, you've kind of paid for the membership. Right now, for example, we've got two things. One that's just open and one that's about to open. Star Trek, which is here and is attracting a lot of millennials and their parents to the exhibit because they kind of grew up. Grandparents actually grew up with Star Trek, and then there's the next generation of new Star Trek movies. Our take on this is, how does science fiction inspire modern science? Everything from how the communicators became our digital phone to robots and the like. And then on the other extreme, we're on the 23rd, we're opening Paw Patrol for young families.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I mean, once again, something for everybody. Like you said, I mean, the people that have grown up over generations with Star Trek, and then, of course, the younger generation that loves Paw Patrol, and maybe even some of the younger generation that loves Star Trek. So there's a nice mix.
Absolutely.
So what is the vision? What is the Children's Museum?
Well, it's to be recognized as one of the foremost museums in the world that focuses on children and families. And we talk about family learning here, and we believe that what we present, whether it's something for young ones or something for older children and adults and grandparents, needs to be tailored to all age groups. So when we do an exhibit, even like the Terracotta Warriors, when we had them here, there was an area just for young children. Same thing with King Tut when we had King Tut here. Coming in June, we've got 2 exhibits. Take Me There Greece, which is our Take Me There gallery, is our international gallery that changes cultures every 3 to 4 years and has lots of hands-on opportunities for young children and adults. And then at the same time, a companion exhibit for just 6 months called Treasures of Ancient Greece, which will have very, very valuable artifacts from ancient Greece, about 200 of them that will be here for 6 months, courtesy of the Ministry of Culture in Greece, including a replica of the world's first computer called the Antikythera.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, I mean, just amazing items that you can't really see anywhere else.
Right.
So what should I expect to see at the Lilly Theater?
At the Lilly Theater, you see anything from, a host. We usually do 3 to 4 different shows during the year, and these are professional adult actors who are presenting shows for children and families. There's usually a holiday show, a spring show, and a summer show, and they can be anything from fractured fairy tales to more traditional kinds of shows. The auditorium seats about 250. We also have a space object theater, which is a repurposed planetarium where we not only show star shows, but we have real space objects that have gone up in space. We had Liberty Bell 7 here that Gus Grissom flew into space for several years, and we just opened, again, because we're a children's museum, and we just opened a show that is all about Star Trek, featuring George Takei and the escape pod that Kirk used as a prop for the Star Trek movie Beyond.
Oh, wow.
But in terms of the lineup for the Lilly Theater, James and the Giant Peach starts March 5th through April 14th. Tales of Olympus, which is kind of our Greek-related show, and then the Magic Snowman from November to January of 19 through January 5th of 20, kind of our holiday show.
So what are the core values of the Indianapolis Children's Museum?
An important list of our core values obviously can be found on our website, but they are this notion of family learning, that we want families to know and understand the importance of learning together, that it's just not formal K through 12 schooling or K through 16 schooling, but it is the importance of families learning together and having conversations, the importance of customer service and serving, again, everyone from newborns to grandparents and everything in between. So to have great customer service, valuing diversity of our audience from the perspective of who comes, from where they come, their socioeconomic background as well, wanting to be as inclusive as possible, have a variety of exhibits across the arts and sciences and the humanities. We're not just a traditional children's museum, which is basically for just very young children without a lot for their parents to do. We want and work hard at making sure there's enough for as much for grandparents as for kids. We value our community in the Midwest and the region, and so we always want to be able to feature exhibits and people in the exhibits that focus on the Midwest and our community and even our neighborhood. We invest a lot in the neighborhoods around the museum. We even have a scholarship program for those who live near the museum that helps them go on to post-secondary school. And in the 6 neighborhoods surrounding the museum, they all receive free full family membership to the museum.
Oh, that is remarkable. I mean, just how you're able to give back and to help change those communities and change the lives of those young people. So, of course, with being ESPN and the grueling truth, we are all about sports. So you can imagine the part that we really want to ask you about, the Riley Children's Health Sports Legends Experience.
Right.
So how many indoor activities are involved there?
Well, there's 12 outdoor experiences, and how this exhibit really came to be is that we've been trying for many, many years to get our arms around health and fitness. And there haven't been too many exhibits that have done this, that have been traveling or visiting exhibits. They're mostly pretty boring, and if you ask people, and we've done lots of marketing studies, would you like to see an exhibit on Star Trek or space or something related to pop culture or something participatory related to health and fitness, guess where health and fitness always ranked? At the bottom.
Ooh.
So we wanted to find a new way to do this. So we we visited all of the major sports halls of fame and experiences and took back here some of the things that worked and a lot of the things that didn't work and put together an immersive indoor-outdoor experience that necessarily invites parents and grandparents to participate with their children and grandchildren in immersive, healthy experiences through the lens of sports, both professional sports and amateur sports. So we have, for example, an Indiana Pacers and Fever basketball experience that's outdoors, and actually we have that indoors as well. A Colts football experience where kids can practice offensive and defensive moves like the pros with giant, large Colts tackling dummies of famous players through time, and a passing and kicking challenge, an Indy Fuel hockey experience, a soccer experience, a motor speedway pedal car racing experience, and a Church Brothers collision repair drag strip experience, Pete and Alice Dye golf experience, which really has two 9-hole courses that are replicas of famous holes that Pete and Alice have done in the world. And of course, we just lost Alice Dye, and this was one of the most exciting projects for us because it was really a legacy project for Pete and Alice to do miniature golf, but in a way that bumps it up from your traditional, I call Florida mini golf with windmills and water, to a real putting course with replicas of their famous holes throughout the world. We have a baseball experience called Wheezy Field. We have a tennis center that was designed by USTA to help bring tennis to young children and their parents. So a whole host of outdoor experiences.
Exactly. I mean, it seems like you said, you've incorporated the community into it. All the local and regional teams, bringing them in and making them a part of it, and then letting the fans experience those activities and get up and get moving. Because, of course, my background is as a phys ed teacher prior to this, so I believe that movement is the best way to learn.
Absolutely. And we have a host of experts that work with us on a regular basis that have a background in sports and fitness, kinesiology, et cetera, and we have costume-themed interpreters outdoors of famous players and coaches through time that actually engage with our visitors and tell them a little bit about the history of the sport or their history as a famous participant in that sport.
So you said it opens up March 16th for the outside?
It does. Yeah.
Nice. So not too far away.
Absolutely, it's right around the corner. The snow, at least today, has melted, and we had a Sunday. I think it was like 60 degrees out here a couple of weeks ago, and we had a number of visitors that were like, "Can we go outside yet?" So this will be our second season being open with the Riley Children's Health Sports Legends Experience.
It's themed with the local teams, but how involved had the local teams been?
They have been fantastic. They really have. As is Riley, Children's Hospital has been fantastic, particularly on the health and fitness perspective. Everything from on the fitness side to the health side, and the kinds of food we serve in our food court and outdoors as well. And Andrew Luck was our spokesperson for the first year. And as we were raising dollars for this $38.5 million experience, so it has lots of connections to very famous athletes that have some tie to Indiana, but for instance, DeMarcus Beasley, who the only American male soccer player to play in 4 FIFA World Cups, Larry Bird in basketball, Tamisha Catchings with the Fever, Pete Nallis Dye, A.J. Foyt, Wayne Gretzky, the Indianapolis Clowns from the Negro Baseball Leagues, Slick Leonard and Oscar Robertson, of course, Wilma Rudolph, the famous track star, Reggie Wayne on the football side, and Barbara Wynn, who for more than 50 years has kind of been the face of youth tennis in India and across the nation, who is really supportive of how we can bring tennis to young children.
So are those the folks that are your Avenue of Champions?
They are. Thank you for remembering that. Absolutely. And those are beautiful bronze statues with lots of information, and they're also photo ops. And some of our costume-themed interpreters become those people, although I will say Barbara Wynn is here on a regular basis teaching tennis, so you can have your photo taken with the sculpture or with the real legend.
Oh, wow. That is remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I was going to say, the history of Indiana sports sounds like it's alive at the museum.
Absolutely.
So I've been to Disney World, or at least seen pictures of how they have a tree, and it's got all kinds of animals on the tree.
Right.
So what's with yours with the sports?
We have this giant fantasy treehouse of sports climbing experience, which is 60 feet tall, inspired by Disney's Tree of Life. And instead of being carved out of animals like you mentioned, it is carved out of sports equipment that has everything from giant footballs, basketball, helmets, racing cars. All of it is actually carved into the tree, and you can go inside the tree, climb up to a whole number of platforms at various heights in the tree, and then there are a couple slides to slide down.
Excellent. Obviously, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I want to go and I want to see the history of hoops, but that ends on the 3rd? But on the other hand, I want to go and I want to be able to go outside, which is the 16th. So I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'll have to get a membership and go both times.
I guess you will. You'll have to come twice. You'll just have to come twice. And, we'll be rotating that history of hoops to a football experience in the fall.
Oh, nice.
In September. So it'll be kind of a history of football with a lens on our home team Colts here.
So, what is the World of Sports?
The World of Sports is our 15,000 square foot indoor experience, which that portion of our building really is an expansion of the building. It has the temporary exhibit, which is the history of hoops that will become football, and then it has a World of Sport, which covers pro sports and amateur sports. So we have some recognition of the pro sport teams in Indiana, but we also have an NCAA training facility which focuses on the student athlete and the importance of study, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but also lots of information about women in sports, adaptive sports for those with disabilities. We have a pit stop challenge. We have a press box news desk where you can actually be on camera calling the plays. We have a radio broadcast station, interactive where you can call the play, record it, play it back, which is very cool. And then we also have the National Art Museum of Sport, which is a third gallery in that 15,000 square feet, which is the first permanent home of the National Art Museum of Sport. It was in a variety of temporary homes here in Indy. It has about 1,000 works of art, drawings, paintings, and sculptures by renowned national and international artists, and including Winslow Homer, George Bellows, and the like, and again, drawings and paintings and sculptures, plus a gallery experience where you can draw, paint, and sculpt your own drawings and sculptures inspired by these great works of art. And we also have a visiting artist, C.W. Mundy, who's a local artist from Indiana, very well-known artist who is in residency here at several times each month.
Going back to the inclusive sports you mentioned, I was going to say, I'm throwing out a challenge. I know this is going to sound like an odd one because it sounds like my mom describing sports because she's not really big into them. She's like, yeah, you know that goal ball? And which most people would go, yeah, she's trying to describe soccer. No, there actually is a sport called goal ball. And that would be an awesome exhibit for you all to have. What it is, it was a sport originally designed for post-war, I forget if it was World War I or World War II, but it was for visually impaired people. And basically nowadays they play it with blindfolds on, and it's a combination between handball and soccer, and it's phenomenal. And they have the lines on the ground, and the ball itself, I know it's kind of harsh to say, but it kind of makes you think of a cat toy because it's got bells inside the ball. That would be a really cool exhibit because I've gotten to interview a couple of the athletes from that, and it just sounds like a remarkable game to watch as a fan because unfortunately, as an athlete, you can't really watch the game.
Right. I want to learn more about that. We do have what we call beeper balls for soccer, and these are balls that make a noise, and they've been great. We have adaptive basketball where we have four groups of 4 mini courts of 4 goals to a cluster at 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, and 10 feet. And these have been hugely popular with kids. We also have many opportunities for kids and adults who are in any kind of wheelchair. Accessibility even for golf is excellent. We designed it that way. We actually had some experts in adaptive sports help us in designing this outdoor experience. But I will for sure look more into that go ball.
Yeah, it's a remarkable sport. Just something unique, something different, and yeah, I mean that is a great thing about your organization, not just in the main museum, but of course with your new facilities, the Riley Children's sports facilities, you go and be able to make everybody have access to it. So it's not one of those things that are limited. It's only limited by your all's imagination.
Absolutely. And even the tree has a special elevator, a lift on the back for anyone with accessibility challenges that way.
So going back to the art, because of course, when I was in college, one of my favorite projects I did was about James Naismith, and everybody knows him for creating basketball, but he actually was
Right.
really big into sports art as well. And the neat thing about him, the neat thing about your all's exhibit, you have the ability to create your own art, what with illustrations and putty and sports cards, the way I understand it.
Absolutely. And with these works by Leroy Neiman and um, um, O.M. Pleisner and Frank Benson, George Bellows, Winslow Homer on the wall right in front of you to be, and many times of famous athletes like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Reggie Miller, Bobby Orr, Arthur Ashe, Sam Snead, Arnold Palmer are there. So whether you just want to look at the art or actually create your own, there's an opportunity to sculpt and draw and paint. We even have one of Muhammad Ali's "Float Like a Butterfly, Sting Like a Bee" originals, and a great black and white photographs of Jackie Robinson in his prime, which is on display as well.
Wow, sounds amazing. I mean, sounds like that alone. Well, which you can say about a lot of your exhibits. That alone is worth the price of admission. That kind of thing. Because I mean, it just sounds so remarkable. But with obviously your organization being like a team, just like in sports, tell us about your highly skilled staff, your volunteers, and your museum guides.
Absolutely. Well, we have about 358 full and part-time staff, about 600 volunteers. We've got 40 what we call coaches that work the outdoor and indoor sports legends experience. Again, a combination of full, part-time. And plus our costume-themed professional actor interpreters who work out there. About 10 of those. And they're all go through training. We have a full design, production, installation staff for our exhibits indoors. So we also have a traveling exhibit business, and so we do create temporary exhibits like the upcoming Paw Patrol that debuts here, and then we lease it to museums throughout the U.S. About 600 volunteers. Volunteers can be family volunteers, or they can be older adult volunteers, and everything in between. Quite an intern program. We have anywhere from 20 to 40 interns from all over the world that come here mostly in the summertime, but at any time of the year we do have a core of interns. Most of those are not paid internships, but again, it's a great place for interns. And again, it could be interns in marketing, interns in health, fitness, kinesiology, sports management, et cetera, fundraising, design, interpretation, acting, finance. It's really, really great.
Excellent. Now, of course, I teased this at the beginning, and now I want to hear more about it, even though you might already be sold out. So probably telling our listeners about it might actually more hurt their feelings than anything because they missed out on it. The Museum by Moonlight.
It's coming up next weekend, next Saturday. 23rd. Yeah, the 23rd. Next Saturday. It is. There are a few tickets available. The last 2 years we've sold out. It is 8 p.m. to midnight on Saturday, February 23rd. The water clock strikes midnight, which is it goes from 8 to midnight. It's for adults 21 and over, and guests can fully explore 5 floors of new and classic exhibits, enjoy drinks, and the first drink's on us, refuel with free food samples from area restaurants. We'll have 25 food vendors. So there is last chance tickets, I think, are $85 per person. They're still available online at childrensmuseum.org.
Excellent. So to summarize, obviously you have all the great stuff going inside the main museum. You got the fun sports stuff that's going to be starting up on the 16th, but you've already got some of it going year-round. And then, of course, you have Paw Patrol, you got Star Trek, you got all kinds of great things. So before we let you go, where on social media and the web can fans learn more about your organization?
They can learn more about us at childrensmuseum.org.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear.
And there's opportunities there to be linked to social media, et cetera, et cetera.
Excellent. Definitely. So, let's see. Of course, we'd like to thank Dr. Jeffery Patchen, the president and CEO of the Indianapolis Children's Museum, for being our guest today.
Well, my pleasure, and thank you so much for having us with you.
Excellent.